I'm just going to talk about sales in general, my own sales strategies that I like to use. Has anybody heard the KISS method? Keep it simple, stupid. In the South, when you're talking about simple and stupid together, one is describing the other. And so it has a little different meaning. So you're not calling someone stupid, you're just saying that you keep it stupid simple. Is really a better understanding of how it is in my mind. And so for me to have heard that, I was like, oh, okay, yeah, just how simple do you keep it? Just stupid simple. Yeah. So when it comes to sales, when it comes to pretty much anything in my life, I simplify. And we're shooting a video right now. The trick to video editing, especially nowadays, is you cut it, and then you cut it again, and then you cut it to where you couldn't possibly fathom cutting anything else, and you've got it cut down right. And so you just keep on cutting out the fat. I've been to sales seminars that I paid way too much for, and there's just too much. Trying to get them to say yes 3 times in your presentation. You've heard of that. Try keeping track of that and keeping track of everything else. It just doesn't happen unless you have like a flip chart or a slide deck or things like that, to where you structure the entire thing. When you have someone that's standing there and they have a broken vehicle, it's a different scenario. It's not a controlled situation. And so I like to keep everything super simple so that you go through and you hit the major things. Because the other stuff, it'll come along so long as you have the right methodology. People have always wanted to be heard, okay? So I'm gonna tell you something about Jerry. When we first married, we had a little farmhouse that we bought. And I walked up behind her and she was standing at the window right above the dishes crying. I said, sweetheart, what's the matter? And she goes, I don't know. And I sure as heck didn't know, so how am I going to fix her problem, right? But I let her talk, and I held her for a minute, and that's all that she needed. She needed to be heard and told her everything was going to be okay. A lot of your clients are the same way. They just need to be heard and told that everything's going to be okay. So we need that human factor, and you'll see how simple it is when we're especially the selling over the curve. I'm gonna jump down to that real fast. Okay, you see, I took your top 3 that we're hearing across the country right now. It's just so you have it in a real scenario. But the first one, I'm sorry to hear that. Okay, so if I have an F-150 on the side of the freeway and I'm calling up, I want to be heard first as a human. So if you're like, man, I'm really sorry to hear that you're in that situation, and sometimes they'll go for a minute, and that's okay. Just let them go for a minute. If they go too long, well, that's a problem. But in general, they need to be heard that they're having this frustration. If you're the first one that hears them, then you're putting money in their emotional bank account. Okay? So, no, I'm sorry to hear that. So they're calling in on a check engine. Everybody with me here? Once again, no child left behind. I'm sorry to hear that. And then right here, you give them hope. Okay? So it could be a car problem that someone brings to you. These are real life things that I'm teaching you here. As a dad, I wish somebody would have explained this to me, because this wrench fits everything. All right? Your daughter comes to you, she's crying about a boy. I'm sorry to hear that, sweetheart. See how this plays? Okay, this wrench fits everything. Okay, and then not to worry, that can be something as simple as a loose gas cap. You built hope, right? Okay, so you've also changed them from being negative, and you've changed the entire tone of the conversation to all of a sudden you can help them. Like, yeah, don't even worry about that. It could even be a loose gas cap. These things happen all the time. And then last, we could take a look at it at 2. Does that work for you? Is that natural? Okay, sweetheart, I'm really sorry this boy's being a jerk. It could be that, he had a hard day. And so you're just talking about it could be something that's not under her control. He could have had a hard day, you never know these things. Why don't we go get some ice cream and talk about it in the morning? For our daughter, it was, let's watch a Disney movie and talk about it in the morning. This works, this wrench fits everything. Okay, this is a real life thing, and that's why it works, is because you're taking care of real human needs. So the car is broken, and that person has a problem. You're fixing their problem. Okay, does anybody here know who Rand McNally is?
Just like encyclopedias or something? Or
Yes,
publisher?
they used to make maps.
Well,
Everybody, when I was 10, knew who Rand McNally was because they made every map in America. If you were going to go across country, you went down the store and you bought a map of the United States, and it was like this. And it had as you turn the page, it had 2 pages of every state except for Alaska. That was uncharted territory. But that Rand McNally made that. Now, isn't it interesting? No one knows who it is. They were the #1 manufacturer. Does anyone know who Magellan was? Garmin. So now we're going down the line. Rand McNally had the market when GPS came out. They should have embraced GPS and they should have dominated it. But instead, they're like, no, we're Rand McNally. We're #1. Okay? Does anyone know who Walmart is? Kmart. Kmart was #1. Walmart came in, they're like, oh, we're Kmart. We're Sears. Okay, you see where I'm going with this? These companies forget what industry they're in and they fail to change with it. Okay, so Rand McNally was in the point A to point B business. They didn't understand it. They thought they were in the map business. They weren't. They were in the point A to point B business. You are in the transportation business. You're not just in auto repair. They have a problem. They're trying to get from point A to point B. You have to look on their side of the fence and see what problems they're facing. They're in a get to work, point A to point B. Get Tommy to soccer, point A to point B. All those point A to point Bs, you're in the transportation business. That's why I harp so hard on loaners, Ubers, shuttles, those types of things. It solves all their problems, not just their F-150s broken on the side of the road. You following me? Okay. So, by the way, Amazon came along and killed Kmart because Kmart didn't understand what business they were in, did they? What business was Kmart really in that Amazon knew? Is anybody?
One-stop shop.
One-stop shop?
Yeah.
Okay. Someone needs a product, you fill that void. Okay, so Amazon knew about that need. Kmart, they didn't understand the convenience side of it. That's all that Amazon did is convenience. It's super convenient to do business with them, so you need to be convenient. And this will help you to stay relevant. Do you think the AI is going to go into auto repair?
Sure.
Yep. Do you think AI is in marketing?
Sure.
Yeah, I have 2 employees right now that are scared to death because I'm having them work with AI. And they're like, is this going to replace me? One of them just quit because he knew it was going to replace him. I didn't say that that's what's going to happen, but he knew it before I even said it. I actually wanted him to be AI assisted, and he's like, this is going to replace me. He just quit. He doesn't understand it. He's the Kmart, right? Okay, but he's not adjusting. And so AI will come, and it will change your world. Okay, right now, drywall is my worst. I suck at drywall. Anybody in here ever done drywall?
Oh, yeah, I suck.
Okay, it's horrible, right? So now they have robots that'll do drywall even on dissimilar planes. So the drywall guys are losing their jobs to robots and AI. Okay, automotive repair, because there are so many variables, that is one thing that keeps you relevant as humans, is there's too many variables. And also the human touch, this other thing that I'm talking about, that will also keep you relevant. Even if there's a shop right next door that could fix this, but doesn't hear them, it's different, isn't it? It's cold. That's the word people use for it. It's cold. And so you're the warm ones, right? Okay, so I call up, ring, ring, my F-150's on the side of the road. What's the first thing out of your mouth?
Sorry to hear that. Are you okay?
I'm sorry to hear, yes, are you okay? Are you far enough off the road? This is real. I love it. What was your name again?
I'm Kevin.
Kevin. Nice to meet you, Kevin. I'm Sam. So yeah, that's the very first thing. Are you safe? Are you on the side of the road? Do you have kids with you that need, do you need a ride? Immediately, those are the questions a neighbor would ask you're the neighbor. Okay, ask the same questions the neighbor would, that dad would. Well, not all the ones that dad would ask. Oh, you stupid idiot, did you? You can't totally go dad on us, but you see their situation, And the way that my mind works, when I talk to someone, I can see them on the side of the road doing whatever they're explaining, and my mind fills in all the blanks, and then it's like, are you off the side of the road? And so you want that compassion factor. Is this a simple concept? Okay, this is why it's so successful, is because it's simple. Okay, so I'm sorry to hear that. What's the next one?
Not to worry.
Not to worry, build hope. Okay? So you got to take them out of that dark place, take them in a light place, build hope. And then next, this is called consultative selling. There's a gentleman called Mahan Khalsa, that's his name. And he did a lot of training with Covey and some of the big shots when Covey was big. But he did consultative selling. We have this problem. Let's work together to fix it. That's all that it is. That's simple. Okay? So we have this problem. The truck's on the side of the road. Let's work together to fix that. But because you're not AI, you know that they have all these other ancillary problems that they, go along with it. That's the loaner. That's the Uber. Or do we have Uber here or Lyft or?
There might be one within 20 miles.
Okay.
No, there's not.
There's not. So a shuttle.
Lucky. I think I saw one in Blue Mine. I've lived for 6 years.
So do we do shuttles or?
We have courtesy cars.
Courtesy cars, loaners. Okay.
There's a shuttle from Boise.
Right, the
Come
Boise
out here.
shuttle.
Yeah, the Sprinter shuttle.
It's what, 60 miles to Boise? I know that because I tried to get sushi last night. So,
Yeah, but would have been a little closer for you.
I was like, man, I just need something light with some protein, which is sushi, right? And then, yeah, wings and burgers, that's what built this town. So as each of these are just a variation of that. Okay, so if I call in, my AC's not blowing, what's the first thing out of your mouth?
I'm sorry to hear that.
I'm sorry to hear that. Yes, and you're like, that sucks. Idaho in the summer, right?
Your shirt is probably sticking to the back of your car.
Exactly.
That's so gross.
If you say it,
Sorry.
if you say the first part of that, they'll probably laugh. The last part of it, yeah. It's like, yeah, it's pretty gross. But it can typically be a quick fix. It's not typically a full AC service. It's typically not a $2,000 job. So are you lying to them? Some people are smiling. It usually is a full replacement.
It's usually some component, but yeah, not a full kit.
Yeah. So I would, if you want on something like that, what is a fair thing to say there?
This is what I would say. I'd say, not to worry, you called the right place. Our guys are so great at this. We do a ton of it.
Right.
We can take care of it.
Amen. So I did have an F-150. The transmission was crap in it. And so I called a transmission shop, which is actually now a client of mine, J&G Transmissions. I called up and I go, hey, my F-150 is not shifting out of first. And the guy goes, oh, I know exactly what that is. That particular truck, they have aftermarket parts that can make it so it doesn't happen again. So before we even talked about price, it was really interesting. He gave me hope. He's like, yeah, there are aftermarket parts where you don't have to go through this again. And I was like, okay, cool. So he didn't quote me over the phone. I didn't ask for a price. I just brought it down because I knew that he was the guy that could fix it.
Yeah.
And we ended up doing business, and they're still a client. This is like 8-9 years ago. But at any rate, you do give them hope. So even if you do know what it is with the AC, they call up and you're like, there's no hope for this one, just say, hey, AC repairs, we do them all the time. I love that. We do them all the time. Got a great team. Do you want to bring it in at 2? Does that work for you? It's just super simple, right? So when we screw sales up when we overcomplicate it. So what are the 3 things you're giving them?
Well, we're gonna give them hope.
Yep. So compassion,
Empathy.
hope, yep, and then a solution. That's all that you're doing.
John just got married a couple weeks ago, so this is perfect timing.
Absolutely. Well, can I do him in a solid?
Yep.
Another one that Mahan Khalsa does is I'm confused.
Oh,
Sherry knows this one because Dad uses it, her husband uses it, and so I'm confused. Okay, this is another holy hand grenade of Argonon is what we call it.
this
But
one gets used all the time in our household. Just saying.
okay, so a customer comes in. Hey, you worked on my transmission, it's not working, and they're pissed and upset. You start out with compassion. Hey, I'm really just sorry to hear that, but I have to say I'm confused. This particular one that I'm referring to, this guy brought his own parts in and they were helping him get back on the road. Have you ever had somebody come in, they're like, oh man, I got these parts already, you know, and you know that they're not the ideal ones, so you explain to them they're not the ideal ones, it might not, you know, and so you end up, just being a nice guy, you end up doing this vehicle. This happened this week. So this is a real thing. So you say, I'm confused. You brought in the parts. We explained to you that, you know, this wasn't the optimal situation. I'm confused on why you're so upset. You see how it diffuses everything? I'm confused. Okay, it works all over the place. Jerry knows that I use this all the time with my kids. You know, our daughter will come home upset about something. Sweetheart, I'm confused. And I go over the points of, you know, the understanding, so to speak, between father and daughter. Or she comes home, she's upset with something, and you're like, sweetheart, I'm confused. I thought that we were going to do this. And to see how it diffuses everything, immediately there's a different change in understanding. So it uses, I mean, it works a lot. Jerry's tired of it. She knows what I'm doing. She's like, oh crap, he's confused again. You're always confused.
Here we go.
It works on him too though, so
It really does.
we're good.
And even though I know it's coming, all of a sudden it changes things from animosity to you're finding a solution. I'm confused. I tell you, bro, it's going to save your bacon. Unless you're not confused and you know it's totally your fault. Okay, so I'm glad that you brought that up. Okay, so selling over the curb. See how simple that is for selling over the curb? You just remember those three things. Okay, show empathy or sympathy, or as you said it, show compassion. Not to worry, you're building hope. And then number 3, we could take a look at it at 2. Does that work for you? Okay, because possession is 9/10 of the law in automotive. You want that vehicle here. So, all right, we're going to bounce up here to return appointment sales, okay? All right, and I'm going to go over just one concept before we get into that. The customer's needs come first. So long as you are doing that, and you're genuinely doing that, it'll show in your eyes, it'll show in your voice, it'll show everywhere, okay? And the business that doesn't see that, you don't want. So if they're like, well, you're just doing this to make money, you don't want that customer, do you? You want the customer that knows and understands that you're trying to take care of them. Okay, I love that review that you got. Where's that review? Do you want to read that review one time? The review teaches this perfectly.
Model change, they let me know that most likely next year I'm going to need some new brakes.
Boom, shakalaka, right there.
I appreciate the heads up so I can plan to have them replaced. Highly recommend them. They are the only place that I trust to work on my car.
Awesome. So right there, and we're going to go over this in just a second. Most likely going to need new brakes in a year. We're going to go over that in a second. But did she think that her needs were first? Yeah, good job on that one. Y'all did a fantastic job on that one. This is the kind of customer we want. This is the kind of customer we want to clone. Okay? We want more of this customer, right? We want less of the Karens and, you know, those kind of folks.
Yeah, less flash.
Yes. Less of them. This is why we don't market on Yelp. Okay. So, return appointment sales script, okay? And we're going to modify this just a little bit according to whatever you're talking about. And when I say script, you don't have to repeat this word for word. We're just going to talk about the concepts. I'm teaching concepts, not the script. And the script just shows you how it all comes together so you have a picture of it. Okay, so Ryan and I were talking this through before this was written, or after this was written, I should say. I apologize. But when someone drops their car off, there's a couple different ways they can do it. They can drop their car off and leave, or they can wait in the waiting room, right? And when someone does an inspection, they're looking for anything that's torn, worn, or frayed, right? Okay, and as you go through that and you take pictures, you'll hear me say this, the picture is worth $1,000. Okay? Take pictures of those things that are torn, worn, or frayed. If you tell me a boot's leaking, okay, that's your opinion. If you show me a boot's leaking, it's worth $1,000, right? Then I'm like, I can't argue that, okay. I mean, it's not like a dirty cabin filter where you just whack it and you pop it back in again. The boot doesn't work that way. So at any rate, take pictures, as good of pictures as you possibly can. If it's dirty, take a picture first, wipe it off so they can see it leak. That's an even better picture. If you can show an active leak, that's fantastic. If you show them with the brakes, like Ryan and I were going over, if you show them the thickness of your brake, there's power in that. But visuals they're just huge. So, and then I call it what's called a show and sell. You remember the show and tell in school? Did anybody have a show and tell? Okay, I did, man. Brought freaking Boba Fett action figure. Yeah, walking there with swagger because he was hard to find at the time. So, but I'd go in there and talk about my action figure, you know, and do that. But the show and sell, you're doing the same thing. You're going in there and you're telling them all about what's going on. After this vehicle's been repaired, this is when this comes in, okay? So you do the show and sell and you show them. It's very simple. You have a problem, right? And you're showing them, okay, well now this needs to be fixed now because it's a problem. Your brakes are thin. That's why they're squeaking. Watch Ryan's video that we just made if you want to know why they're squeaking, but your brakes are thin. They're just warning you. They need to be taken care of now. Down the road, this needs to be taken care of. Or if they're only 3,000 miles into an oil change, you're like, hey, you got another couple thousand miles in your oil change. Down the road, you want to take care of this. So I'm just going to read this script off and we'll go through those. Your repairs are complete and come with a lifetime, local lifetime, and then a 3-year, 36,000 mile warranty nationwide. We like to inspect the repair after about a year to make sure everything is working correctly. Would it be okay if we set a return appointment to re-inspect it in 12 months so that if it needs to be fixed, we will do that on our dime? Is that okay? Does that make sense to you? So you're putting their needs first. Their need is to make sure that they don't have to pay for it to be fixed again, right? So yes, it helps you to keep your bays full. And then we also, anybody here familiar with a shoulder month? You know what a shoulder month is? Or a slow month? Yes. It's a slow month, like a February, March. If you have a warm February is like the worst month ever because it's a shoulder month. Nobody's vehicles break down in spring or fall. And so when you've worked on their vehicle and you're bringing it back in for an inspection, that's when you schedule it for, because when you're not busy. And you say, okay, we like to take a look at this after a while, so if you've done the repair in summer, you can book that in spring. You say, bring it back, that way, you know, we have a chance to take a look at it again, make sure that, you know, nothing's leaking. And so if I presented that to you, what would you say?
Yeah, it's on your dime, you betcha.
Yeah, it's on our dime. We're gonna do the inspection, okay? And then Ryan and I were talking about that, to where it'll send them a notification, hey, you have this appointment coming up for this. And then if they don't respond to that or don't confirm, then we'll do a call and just say, hey, you remember that repair we did? Can we take a look at it? So at any rate, you're doing that because it's a benefit to them. So, and then obviously they say yes, great. And we saw on your vehicle will be due to an oil change in about 3 months. If we set an appointment for that now, it'll save you 10% off the services. So this is just a standard thing that I show all my clients. You know the door hangers? Do you remember the door hangers? If you hand them a door hanger, say it's their first time in, you hand them a door hanger, look, when you come back in, let's get you rescheduled for an appointment, but here's a coupon for it. Okay, it takes 3 times before they're your client. 2, 3 positive experiences. So they had a positive experience the first time, or else you wouldn't be having this conversation. Their second appointment, you come back and they have a discounted oil change that you just gave them a hookup for it. And then when they come back in for that third appointment, then they're yours. And so Ryan have you told them about the free oil change?
We talked about it.
Can I?
Yeah, totally.
Okay, awesome. So we love this one because it works. So we've talked about, you have a great client. Christian's like, I really like this guy. He's awesome. You know, he brings me pizza on Saturdays, you know, whatever it is. But at any rate, I love this client. I want more of them. So you reach under your desk and you will have a free oil change card. And it has a spot for his name on the back. And you hook him up with something. We haven't talked about what you're hooking him up with. And he gives that to someone that isn't already an existing client of yours. And guess who he knows? He knows other people that are like him, right? Okay? I'm a nice guy. I know other nice guys. All right? I'm in my, I just turned 50 this week. Guess what? I know a lot of friends that are 50. And, so you're talking about cloning their demographic, their psychographic, pretty much everything that you want about this client, then they know other people that are just like them. That's just how we roll as humans. So I know the opposites can attract, but it's not always the case, especially with friends. So you'll give them, and Ryan said, if I have some of them, I'll give them a stack, because some clients, you just love them. The dude that owns an F-350 never asks how much it is to fix anything. That's the guy that you want to give him a stack of those free oil changes with his name on the back. And so you'll just clone guys just like him. If you have a Cybertruck that comes in, give that guy a stack of them. And guess what? Well, obviously not oil changes, but you'll give him services. But not everybody that he knows has a Cybertruck anyway. But do you see where we're going with that? So this is how you build a culture, and you end up with a client culture, a bunch of customers that you like, because you've cloned them. All right.
And with that, so we've had the $25 referral cards, but $25 probably isn't going to change behavior much. But when we have these great customers and we offer them to give away a free oil service to somebody, that's enough to actually think about. Yeah, it makes it easier for them to bring it up because it's worth giving away.
Absolutely, and then they're the friend with the hookups, right? Do you see how that's customer centric? It takes care of the customer. So yes, it helps you as a business, but all of this is architected towards helping the customer. And they have to see that in your eyes.
Yeah, you need to know what's in it for them.
Yeah,
You know, what's in it.
100%. All this is what's in it for them.
Yeah.
So, any questions before we do Ryan's favorite thing, role playing? With the simplicity of this, it makes it easy for role playing, right? Because you show compassion or empathy, and then you give them hope, then you give them a solution. So if somebody wants to do a role play, I'll do the hard part, and I'll be the counter help. All right? And one of you can be a customer. How about you, Charlotte? Do you want to be the customer?
I'll be a customer.
Okay. The selling over the curb, or do you want to do a return appointment?
What's your return appointment?
Okay. Return appointment, by the way, that's the holy grail of automotive repair. Okay, this is the one, getting people to come back, it's extremely difficult.
I think too, we got 53 appointments on the schedule, which is awesome. So this is not a thing to solve where we're at today. This is a go into September with a heavier load, just reduce the dips. And so that's what I am excited about.
Awesome. Okay, Charlotte, just so you're in the camera. I know you can forgive me tomorrow. Hopefully you have a bad memory, or you're not gonna send me text messages. I know you're gonna do that.
Okay, I don't have to call you, right?
Okay, no, because we're doing a return appointment, we've just done a service. Do you guys want to tee up what service we've done?
What's that?
I just had an induction service recently.
There you go.
There you go.
Perfect.
Okay, is that medical?
No.
Okay,
Oh, yeah.
we're gonna call you Mrs. Chapman just so it's easy to remember. Does that work?
That's fine.
I don't know, okay. We're gonna use this because we took good pictures, right?
Yep.
Okay. All right, Mrs. Chapman, do you mind if I come over here? Is that all right? Okay, so thank you for bringing it in for the induction service. We've got that all taken care of. We actually, while we were doing that, noticed your air filter was dirty. It's not very dirty though. You haven't been running up and down trails, have you?
I have not.
Okay, yeah, so it wasn't very dirty, so we just knocked it out and put it back in, if that's okay with you.
Okay.
Yeah, if you have any allergies or things like that that come up, just let us know and we'll get a fresh one in there. But in the meantime, it looked good to us.
Okay.
And then we topped off all of your fluids as well, and we rotated your tires just like you talked about. We would recommend looking at an alignment down the road. One of them was kind of worn unevenly. Now that can be because of tire pressure, which we righted the tire pressure, but we're not sure if that's an alignment issue or not. So if the next one that we put in that same spot, we actually took and put some yellow paint on the inside of it. You won't see it because it's on the inside. But we marked it with some yellow paint so we would know which spot that it was in. And when you bring it back in, we have it on record, and we'll go ahead and relook at that tire. And if it's also worn in that same spot, then that just means you need to do an alignment. They're $80, not a biggie. So at any rate, but the last thing that I wanted to bring up is that you haven't had your oil changed in 3,000 miles, which is okay, because we saw on the tag that it said that it was a synthetic blend, which allows you to go 5,000 miles. So you did a great job, you picked the right motor oil. And so we actually really liked doing business with you, and I have this. I know that it's in the shape of a door hanger, but you know, the coupon still stays the same. But you see that it's for a $40 oil change. I don't know what price we're at, 70 or something to that effect. But this is for a $40 oil change, and on this vehicle it's typically $99. So if you bring this back in when it's time to change your oil, then we can go ahead and give you that price. I just want to hook you up. Is that okay?
That sounds great.
Okay. And then, so I'm going to go ahead and give you that.
Thank you.
Okay. And then with this induction service, we want to check it out in about 9 to 12 months. Okay. Now I know it's summertime right now and we're super busy, and you are too. If we could schedule something like that in spring, when you could just bring it back by, we'll make sure nothing's leaking and everything's taken care of. We just want to make sure it's on our dime, under warranty, instead of you having to pay for it in the event that it fails. I doubt that it will, because we did it right, and Tommy knows what he's doing. He's great at this. But if you want us to just go ahead and take a look at it in spring, can we set that up?
That sounds great. Let's
Okay.
get that set up.
Okay, that sounds great. Okay, so we've got you set down for March 6th, and the system will just send you a text and remind you about it. And then just go ahead and hit confirm, and if you don't hit confirm, then someone will probably give you a call and just remind you, because if your memory is anything like mine, it's not perfect, right?
I definitely probably won't remember, so.
Yeah, I won't either. We got so much going on in our lives. So I'll go ahead and have that set, and then when you get a chance for your oil change, just go ahead and bring this back in, and I've written my name here, so if you just want to look me up when you come back, I'd love to help you out again.
That's great.
Okay, sounds great, and we will see you in a couple months.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good job.
Okay. It's scary, huh, Charlotte?
You didn't make me say much. It was great.
Would you have come back in for real?
Yes, I would have come back in, as long as you give me a reminder, because I'll put it in my calendar, but sometimes, like, even on my personal calendar, I swipe it to clear my notifications, so that reminder call, I think, would be beneficial for me.
Yeah, absolutely. So the plan is for the system to send a reminder, and if they don't respond, to get a call.
Yep.
So, fantastic. Okay, any hard ones? Do you have any hard ones you want to role play? What's your biggest objection? Do you want to role play a big objection? I know what mine usually is that I hear.
You don't have the money.
Yeah. Or I'm selling it.
Yeah, I'll say that.
And then it
But
comes
then you
back
want you to
to,
do a
Yeah.
schedule so we can sell it.
because they
With
didn't
more
sell it.
times.
Yeah, because they didn't sell it.
I like the pre-warning. That was like your tires are wearing a little weird, but we can do this and keep an eye on this area. But something to keep in mind, you might need an alignment.
I love your review, because your review says that you're already doing some of that stuff, right?
Well, yeah, with the review, the funny part with her was I had told her probably your next oil change or the following oil change, we're gonna really need to be doing brakes on your vehicle. Because I think she's in the yellow middle area. But they get their vehicle, they drive so little that she translated to her as, next year I need to get my brakes done, because she knows that she's not gonna drive enough before then.
I'm glad that you brought that up, because Ryan and I talked about that this morning. So there's what you say and what the customer hears, and they're typically two different things, aren't they? And I get to sort through that because I answer some of the nasty reviews. Because people have heard something, or in their mind it's one way, and then it really is in reality it's another way. And so, especially one other thing that was brought up is sometimes someone will call in and it's late, it's hot, the service advisor is overworked, and he's like, man, how can they not know this? I've done this 900 times. Yes, you have, but it's probably there first. Is that fair to say? So, and if they're just asking for price, if someone's just beating you up over price, it means they don't know, it's probably Sam's fault or Eleven's. We haven't done a good enough job in showing them that you're different. People hammer you on price because they don't know the difference between you and someone else. That is their only differentiator they know to go off of.
And sometimes they don't even know what to ask for. That's the only thing they know what to ask for is price.
Exactly.
So they need to be educated and explained.
And so there are a couple ways that can go. Compassion, like we were talking about, giving them hope, and say, you keep asking about price, but I think what you really mean is what's it going to take to get this vehicle fixed? Is that what you mean? Do you see how you stop and you just reword it? And would I'm confused work there? Yes, it works absolutely. See, I'm confused. I know we're going through the prices here, but I think that you're trying to get this car ready to sell. Is that the goal? Yeah, that's the goal. Okay, then it's my opinion that this would get the car ready to sell. Does that make sense? So it's that. Oh yeah.
Just checking engagement.
Checking engagement. Just yeah. So you go back to those same exact things, and you do it again and again, and it just becomes natural to you. So and if they're just hammering you for price, what do you say?
I say, when you have a repair experience at a shop, what to you is the most important element? You never say price.
Yeah, it's not.
But that's almost condescending. So
Communication is their number one thing.
Yeah.
By the way, that's their number one complaint is communication. That's why a picture's worth $1,000 because you communicated to them and they trust it. So I love that you said that. Thank you. So any other objections? If you have a hard objection, stop, talk about what's on the table, and then you just find a solution. Now that because it's both of your problem now, right?
Well, again, just like you're saying, what they say is an objection, you got to make sure that you understand what their objection is by having them state it, and then you repeat it back, parrot it, so that you're on the same page. Because one thing that they say may not mean the same thing to me unless we have that discussion at that point. When you got dialed in, you could actually have a solution.
Yep. So if I'm understanding you correctly,
Yep.
and sometimes they're like, no, that's not what it is. But their objection is typically the talking point. So if I'm understanding you correctly, this is your daughter's car, right? Because, cheap and daughter's car shouldn't go together. So when you just take that objection, restate the objection and say, okay, so if I understand you correctly, this is what we're trying to overcome. Do you see how all of a sudden we're a team and we're trying to overcome that? It changes everything. And they're like, yeah, that's my objection. And if they straight up can't afford it, say we do have financing, and if that's not good enough for them, then they're probably not a customer for you, to be honest. So they'll go to another shop and be unhappy with another shop instead of you. So any other questions or things that you have a hard time overcoming?
Selling maintenance stuff is kind of difficult sometimes.
Yep.
To get them to understand, take the time to listen to you, to explain why it's necessary, and in the long run it saves you money.
Yeah.
People just don't do a whole lot.
I agree.
They don't want to do preventative maintenance.
That's what I
They just
meant.
wait.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Then it's like, oh my goodness, why is this costing me $8,000?
Right?
And why can't I get in tomorrow?
And so you understand that it's less expensive to do preventative maintenance than it is to fix a problem. And Ben Franklin talked about this. It's been around for hundreds of years with other things. He said, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of solution. That's his quote. So that was before the car was ever invented. This has been a mindset for how long? So if they're not wanting to maintain their vehicle, I will express to them, say, I just want you to know, just so my conscience is clear, that you know that preventing this is less expensive than fixing it when it becomes a problem. And so, do you like my terminology there?
Yeah.
And so you're just like, just so I can sleep at night, I just want you to know. And sometimes it's enough to turn the tide, and sometimes, it turns the tide down the road. And so I know individuals that, like when we bought our house, I bought it to flip it. And whoever had lived there built a window screen out of CDs. What's that gonna keep out? Birds, maybe? Certainly not an insect, but some people, they just, whatever's cheapest is best, right? And so some people, you're just never gonna swing that way, and they may not be your ideal customer, but I will always communicate as a professional what the right way is. And say, just so you know, the right way is to keep this from happening, but if it happens, just call us up when you're on the side of the road, and we're happy to help you then. I just want you to know that this is the way to go.
In a lot of places, they'll come from a dealer or whatever, they know they're gonna get this big list of stuff that's needed on it after they get their oil change and whatever, so we try to make sure that they understand, hey, we're not just trying to sell a bunch of services here, but we want you to have information, and correct information, and as much information as we can possibly give you so you can make good decisions based on that information.
Yep.
So I'm not just trying to sell you a bunch of stuff, I'm trying to help you.
Yeah.
So if you can convey that helps.
Yep, you get on the same team.
It's another step,
Yeah.
and so that's hard to add a new step to the process, even though I think the more we condition people to do this, the more the maintenance stuff, the long-term planning of the vehicle, instead of just like, crap, I scheduled, I'm already overdue. It frames them the right way to interact with us the way we want. But it's still an obstacle to present it. So,
do we want to try to schedule the next oil change for them, or are we doing this 1 year out thing, or what?
I think this would be a good thing. Like, what's a good step to break the ice?
Gotcha.
What could you guys do?
And it's like anything else that we implement, as we do it, we continue to do it, then it becomes, habit. Like, I'm asking people for addresses and emails now.
Right.
It's like, I never did that before.
And it's way better.
Yeah.
Way better.
I mean, it's easy for things like brakes or stuff that that they need, or that stuff that you identified during your inspection that day.
Yep.
That stuff's gonna be a lot easier to talk to them about and schedule, like, hey, you already know you need this, let's get you scheduled for, next month, 2 weeks down the road. But yeah, it's those ones that they don't need yet, or I guess like Kevin was saying, like oil changes, those might be a little bit harder because you're kind of guesstimating how much they're driving or how long time frame is.
Yeah.
Right.
But
So, can we talk through that for an oil service? So we can't tell the mileage. We can tell the time. How would you handle something like that for an oil service? So if we just finished an oil service today and we want to just schedule the next one in, do you like that concept, or do you like more scheduling the deferred work? What are your thoughts?
So you're talking about scheduling an oil change?
Yeah, so just trying to decide to implement this. Should we put more emphasis on pick and choose? Let's knock something off your list. Can we get something scheduled out for X number of time? Or, do we start this routine of we finish our oil service? Do you want to just get the next one on the schedule, and we'll give you a reminder before it comes up? What do you think is the best way to launch this?
Yeah, then you're stacking your spring and fall with oil changes.
Yeah.
I like pre-scheduling my oil changes, and then if I hit that number, my dash obviously goes off, and then I'm calling, hey, I need to get in sooner. But I think that it is nice to, before I was pre-scheduling at my last place.
And not everyone's vehicle will let them know.
That's true.
So I guess in that sense, would we schedule it more time-based and then just tell the customer, if you get closer to the miles, give me a call ahead of time and we can move your appointment?
Yeah.
There's several ways we can do it, even on preventive maintenance. I know the answer, I shouldn't pre-qualify the answer, but the answer we're going to get is, well, let me discuss it with my husband, and we'll get back to the appointment. But I think if we start doing it, get in the habit of doing it, throw enough mud at the wall, something's going to stick.
Yep.
I think if we just do it, then it'll become our culture, and the way we do it, no matter how we do it, as long as we're doing it. I think it's just going to help.
And one of the things that kind of I see is when the schedule's light, we're stressed for certain reasons, and that messes up our workflow. Mm-hmm. We're just trying to take anything we can, and that has baggage that comes along. When we overschedule, we're stressed, and now we're just trying to get work done, and maybe we're rushing a delivery and not closing out what we could.
Skipping steps.
So the reality is, the majority of the time, we're stressed. Whether it's because we're stressed because of too little or stressed because of too much. And so I think with this, it's a step in the right direction toward the routine. And so with oil services, I like that idea, hey, if you get here before this 6 months, let us know, we'll get you in sooner. But at least we know that we're not gonna be, holy crap, a year's gone by and haven't had this service. Because I think that's the world that a lot of our customers live in, is it's just not scheduled.
Can we incentivize that scheduling?
Yeah,
I think that's, what's in it for them means a lot, like,
yeah.
let's do this because of this, and this is
Yeah.
what's in it for you.
He had this 10% off service, but we could make a defined, offer.
You can have them,
So, when someone has come in and they've had their service done, you're going over their worn, torn, and frayed, and they're getting ready to leave, they can leave with multiple appointments. It's not
yeah.
a one and done. It's
Yeah.
okay, I have an appointment for my oil, I have an appointment to have my tires rotated or whatever. I have an appointment for my warranty to be checked. You know, I mean, you can leave with like 3 appointments on the calendar, and are they gonna come back to one of those?
Probably.
Way more highly than if they have 1 or 0.
Yep.
So,
Or if we don't ask them.
exactly.
Which we don't yet, so.
Gotta ask them.
Yeah, I like that.
And if it's,
10%
let
or
me
something.
go ask my husband about that oil change, bring up that door hanger,
Yeah.
and just hand it to him, say, hey, we've really liked working with you, we'd love to see you again, here's a discount for when you come back in.
Yeah.
Give him, if she's expressing it, number one, that means that she doesn't trust you. Like, don't take it personally, but you haven't gained her trust yet, and so give her that extra comfort. Hey, look, when we see you again, we'd like to, offer you this discount. And her husband will understand that. So, if that's really her concern.
Free money.
I love discounts.
Yes, people love discounts.
Yes.
Cool.
It
Thank you.
sounds like